The crimson dust of Kepler 442b swirled around the massive harvester as it carved through the crystalline fields, its plasma blades humming with deadly efficiency. The machine was a marvel of Zephyrian engineering, 30 meters tall, equipped with sensors that could detect the slightest movement, and programmed with one simple directive: harvest everything in its path. Everything except what the Zephyrians deemed acceptable losses. Adam Reeves wiped the sweat from his brow as he monitored the harvester's progress from his mobile command unit. As the only human overseer on this remote mining colony, he'd grown accustomed to the Zephyrians' cold efficiency. Their insectoid bodies and compound eyes saw the world in calculations and profit margins, not in the messy emotions that humans carried like badges of honor. "Harvester Unit 7 approaching Sector 12, chirped Zyth, his Zephyrian supervisor, through the comm system. Estimated crystal yield 47,000 tons. Acceptable loss ratio within parameters. Adam frowned at the readout. Acceptable losses. He'd learned that phrase covered everything from damaged equipment to other things. Things the Zephyrians preferred not to discuss with their human contractors. The harvester's sensors suddenly detected an anomaly, a small heat signature in the direct path of the plasma blades. The machine's AI calculated the object's value. Negligible. Species Zephyrian juvenile. Status abandoned. The harvester continued its inexorable advance. From his command post, Adam caught a glimpse of movement on his secondary screen. He leaned forward, adjusting the resolution. There, barely visible against the crimson landscape, was a small figure curled in the shadow of a crystal formation. "So there's something in Sector 12. Small heat signature. Confirmed. Harvester sensors detect abandoned juvenile. Harvester will proceed as scheduled." Adam's blood ran cold. "Abandoned? You mean there's a child out there?" "Juvenile shows genetic markers indicating severe developmental deficiency. Family unit has made logical decision to minimize resource allocation. This is standard protocol." The casual tone in Zyth's voice made Adam's stomach churn. He zoomed in further and saw her clearly now. A young Zephyrian female, her iridescent carapace dulled with dust and neglect. She couldn't be more than the equivalent of a human 12-year-old. Her large, multifaceted eyes reflected the approaching lights of the harvester, but she made no attempt to move. "Stop the harvester," Adam commanded. "Negative. Human Reeves, you exceed your operational authority. Harvester will proceed." Adam watched in horror as the massive machine drew closer. The child, Maheen he decided to call her after his sister back on Earth, remained motionless. Whether from resignation, injury, or simple acceptance of her fate, he couldn't tell. "Override command, emergency stop authorization Reeves Alpha 7. Human Reeves, your emergency authorization does not extend to protecting abandoned assets. Corporate efficiency requires..." Adam cut the comm and grabbed his environmental suit. The Zephyrians could court-martial him later. Right now, a child was about to die, and every human instinct he possessed screamed against allowing it to happen. The harvester was less than 50 meters away when Adam's ground vehicle skidded to a stop beside the crystal formation. The plasma blades cast an eerie blue glow across the landscape, and the machine's proximity sensors began their final countdown sequence. Maheen looked up as Adam approached, her compound eyes reflecting confusion and something that might have been hope. Up close, he could see the genetic markers Zyth had mentioned. Her left arm was withered, barely functional, and her movements were slower than a typical Zephyrian. In her society's ruthless calculus, she was indeed defective. "Hey there," Adam said softly, his voice transmitted through his suit's external speakers. "I'm going to get you out of here." To his surprise, Maheen spoke, her voice a melodic chirp that his universal translator rendered as, "Why?" "I am broken." Adam's heart clenched. "Nobody's broken, kid. Just different." He scooped her up gently, surprised by how light she was. Her carapace was warm to the touch, and he could feel her rapid heartbeat through his gloves. The harvester was now 20 meters away, its sensors locked onto their position. "Vehicle override maximum speed," Adam commanded, carrying Maheen toward his ground transport. They reached the vehicle just as the harvester's plasma blades swept through the space where Maheen had been waiting to die. Adam strapped her into the passenger seat and gunned the engine, racing away from the mechanical monster. "This action violates efficiency protocols," Zyth's voice crackled over the comm. "Human Reeves, you will face disciplinary action." "Put it on my tab," Adam replied, glancing at Maheen. She was staring at him with those huge, multifaceted eyes. Her head tilted in the Zephyrian expression of bewilderment. "Why did you save me?" she asked. "I consume resources. I cannot contribute to colony efficiency." "Logic dictates—" "Logic," Adam interrupted, "is overrated. You know what humans call it when we save someone who needs help? We call it Tuesday." Maheen's antennae twitched, the Zephyrian equivalent of laughter. "This is humor? Kid, where I come from, we've got a saying. The measure of a society is how it treats its most vulnerable members. Your society might have given up on you, but that doesn't mean you're worthless." Over the following days, Adam faced a tribunal of Zephyrian administrators. They questioned his judgment, his understanding of resource allocation, his commitment to colonial efficiency. Through it all, Maheen stayed close to him, her presence a quiet reminder of why he'd acted. The tribunal's decision was swift. Adam would be reassigned to a different sector, but no formal punishment would be imposed. The Zephyrians, it seemed, were curious about this human concept of compassion and its potential applications. As they prepared to leave the mining colony, Maheen approached Adam with something in her functional hand, a small crystal formation, perfectly geometric and gleaming with inner light. "I grew this," she said proudly. "My genetic difference. It allows me to cultivate crystals in ways others cannot. The administrators want to study my abilities." Adam smiled, understanding flooding through him. "Different isn't broken, is it?" Maheen's antennae twitched again. "No, different is valuable." Years later, when Maheen became the galaxy's leading expert in crystal cultivation, revolutionizing energy storage across a dozen worlds, she would always remember the human who saw worth where others saw only waste. And Adam, now an advocate for interspecies welfare, would tell anyone who'd listen about the day he learned that sometimes the most logical thing you can do is ignore logic entirely. After all, humans had been proving that for millennia.